Okay, let's start this lesson with a little bit of grammar. Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to look at both, neither, and either. And you can pronounce these words neither, or sometimes they say neither. Neither, neither. And the same with either and either. Okay, let's start with both. Okay, so both, we use both when we want to talk about two things. Okay, they're two things. That's the main meaning of both. Okay, when you want to say they're two things. Okay, let's look at some examples here. I like both tea and coffee. Okay, so it's more common to use this when someone says, do you like tea or coffee? You say, I like both. Okay, it's because people do not expect you to like the two things. Okay, you really want to emphasize that two things, that you like both. Okay, we can also use both as a pronoun, like in this example here. Do you like tea or coffee? Okay, I like both. Okay, you can say I like both, or I like both of them. Both are possible. See that? Both are possible. Okay, you can also use both with adjectives. Okay, you can also use both with adjectives. This is less common. Okay, I think this is the most common use here with nouns. So, she is both intelligent and beautiful. Okay, so you really want to emphasize that she has these two qualities, intelligent and beautiful. Okay, and both of have the same meaning but can be used differently. Okay, so we can only use both of with plural pronouns, us and them. So let's look at the example. He liked both of us. He liked both of them. Remember the example up here? So it said, do you like tea or coffee? You can say, I like both of them. Okay, and space. So I like both of them. You can't say I like both them. You need to use the of in this situation. Okay, let's move on to either and neither. Okay, there are different pronunciations that people use for this, but I prefer either and neither. So neither and either have very similar meanings, but are used differently. Okay, so they're the negative form of both. Okay, so it's like not the two objects or people, not the two nouns. So if you look up here, you can also use with adjectives. She is, you could say she is neither intelligent. And in this case, you have to use nor. Like I said, this is less common. So you say she is neither intelligent nor beautiful. Poor girl. Right, so let's change that back. She is both intelligent and beautiful. Okay, so we use neither with a positive verb and either with a negative verb. Okay, let's see this. So I like neither tea nor coffee. Okay, this is kind of formal, kind of older English, but that's just something that you can say. So I don't like either tea or coffee. It's not really that common to say these two sentences. You just say I don't like tea or coffee. You can say that, but usually if somebody offers you these two things, so it's like this short answer here is like, do you like tea or coffee? And you say neither. It's an easy way to just say that you don't like the two options, right? You want to have the negative of the two options. So me, for example, somebody says, do you like tea or coffee? I'd say both, because I like both tea and coffee, right? Some people usually like one or the other, but I like both. Okay, either usually goes with the full sentence. So this is important to think about how we use either and neither. Usually when you use the verb and you say like, I don't like tea either. I don't like tea either. You wouldn't say neither in this situation. Neither is more in this example when you want to agree. I don't like tea. You can say me neither. Okay, so in this case, you are agreeing, right? You are agreeing with the person. You say, I don't like tea. You say, me neither, right? So this is for a negative sentence. Negative, and you want to agree, all right? Let's think of something else maybe that is a negative sentence. I can't drive, right? I can't drive. And then if you can't drive, you want to agree, you say, me neither. Okay. Right. So let's look at some of these short answers in more detail here. Let's move this down. So you can also use so do I, me too, or me neither. So let's look at the example here I used before. So I can drive. This is a positive sentence, right? Positive. And if you want to agree, you say me too. Or so can I. So you need to use the auxiliary here. In this example, we have the auxiliary can, but if you just say I drive, say I drive a lot, then the auxiliary, what is the auxiliary of this? There is no auxiliary, right? But in this case, we'll use do, because do is often the auxiliary when it is just a sentence like this, you know, like you make a question, and do I drive? So that would be the auxiliary to help you say that this is a question, or I don't. So we use this verb do as an auxiliary verb to help you. Okay. And if you want to disagree, then in the old sentence, I can drive, and then you say I can't. You change it to the opposite, right? This is a positive sentence and you make it negative. So in this example, we changed the example. Now it's I drive a lot. So the auxiliary will be I don't. Okay. And let's look at this. If you have any questions at all, put some comments in the comments below in the video. Okay, let's look at this one. I can't drive is a negative sentence, right? And then you use me neither to agree, right? Say, oh, me neither. I can't drive either, right? You can also say that. I can't drive either. And you go, if you want to disagree, then you use the opposite. I can. So let's change this sentence to the sentence above. I don't drive a lot. Oops. This is Grammarly I use here to help me in case I make a mistake. I don't drive a lot, all right? And then you say, I don't drive either. Or I don't drive a lot either. Okay, and to disagree, right, it's going to be the opposite of this auxiliary. You want to disagree, you want to say, I do. Okay, you even hear this a lot in English, that people add this auxiliary when they say the opposite of what somebody else says, or what somebody is not expecting them. So like this extra do that we use a lot. And even you hear people say, I do that. It sounds very strange, right? But they're just adding that emphasis to say that you need this sentence first, right? I don't drive a lot, and then you say, I do drive a lot. You can just say, I do for a short answer. Okay, so we use so do I and me too to agree with someone quickly. So I love coffee. And then you could say, so do I, or me too. Okay, I don't like coffee. Then you say, me neither. Me neither. I don't like coffee. And you can say, what can you say with either? You can say me either. Now that's supposed to be grammarly incorrect, but many people, especially in the United States, especially younger people, they say that to me either. So for me, if people say it, it's okay, it's correct. But with either, I would usually say I don't like the full sentence, right? I don't like coffee either, right? So in both examples above, you are agreeing with the person, right? So if you want to disagree with the person, we saw up here the disagreeing, you need to repeat the verb with the auxiliary in the opposite form, right? So you say, let's look at some more examples. I love coffee. And you want to say, no, I don't. Okay. And then if it's a negative sentence, I don't like coffee, then you say, I do. All right. Let's do another example here of this. I play tennis. Okay. And you want to say that you don't play tennis. So you say, I don't. Simple short answer to say that you disagree, right? What about with another type of verb like a modal verb? I would like to visit Iran. Okay, and if you don't want to visit Iran, what would you say? Say, I wouldn't. Okay, you repeat the auxiliary verb, which is here. And I will put a link in the description below to an article I wrote explaining everything about auxiliary verbs. Okay, be, do, and have are common ones, and then the modal verbs, all right, are also auxiliary verbs. They basically help you to know what is happening in the sentence, right? Easy example, look at this. That's an auxiliary verb, and that makes you know that the sentence is negative, right? Let's look at another obvious example. I have seen a cat. Bad example, but anyway, this have is the auxiliary, and it makes us know that this is a present perfect sentence, okay? It's not a good example, but anyway, just to show you. Okay, so just remember that both, neither, and either are for two things, right? So compare either, neither, both, two things, and any, none, and all. So that's for more than two things, right? So you can drink tea or coffee, right? You have two options here. So you can say you can drink both. You can drink both tea or coffee, right? Or you say, I want both, maybe. Or you say, I don't want either. I think it sounds a little bit better to say that than just say neither, right? Maybe if you're just having an informal conversation, you can say neither, but it would be more polite to say, I don't want either. Okay, and then with more examples, there are lots of drinks to choose from. I can have any drink I want, right? Any of them. There are lots of them. Or you can say, I want all of them. That's every single one. Or you can say none. None of them are milk. Okay? Okay, let's practice a little bit of what we just learned in the grammar section, right? So my name is Connor, and this is 1 Minute English. Okay, so let's continue. Last weekend, we're going to practice this agreement, with so do I, or so can I, that type of thing, or me too, me neither. And we have some sentences here. Okay, so last weekend I, no capital, stayed at home. Okay, so what did you do? What did you do last weekend? So you can response. So you can say, oh, me too. If you want to agree, you say me too. Or you can say, so did I. Okay? And so did I. If you want to agree, let's put agree here. If you did the same as me, I think many people are doing that now. staying at home. Okay, so you can use both of these. Why did I use did here? I used did because this is in the past simple, right? And the past simple auxiliary will be did, right? So did I. Okay, and let's go on. My favorite kind of music. So my favorite kind of music is folk music. Okay, and imagine you want to disagree now. What can you say? Response. So let's look at our little box here again. So remember that agree is me too and me neither, right? So where am I? Put myself over here. And to disagree, then we use I don't. We use the opposite form, right? So this is actually kind of difficult, right? Because the verb here is, right? So we could say just another sentence would probably be most common here. You say, "Oh, I prefer jazz." Okay, that would probably be the most common response here because of this type of sentence, right? So we'll stick with the most common thing to say here. If you want to disagree, right? Because, well, sometimes it's not nice to just say, just straight disagree with somebody. So let's do another example. I'm not very good at basketball. Okay, and you want to agree? What can you say? Me neither, right? Because it's a negative sentence, right? Me neither. But if you want to say that you are good at basketball, disagree with the sentence, then you can say, I am. Okay, so let's look at the next one. In the evening, I usually read. Okay, in the evening, I usually read a book or I make dinner or something like that. Let's say you want to agree that you do the same. And you can say, me too. Or, so do I. So do I. Okay, remember this is in the present simple, right? So you use do for the present simple here. Let's see. I've never been to Japan. Okay, you want to disagree, right? You have visited Japan already, so you want to say I have. That's the right response here. Okay, and then so let's think about this conversation. I say, I've never been to Japan. You say, I have. I say, oh wow, what's it like? Try to increase the conversation, right, and engage. And let's say I've got a friend called Eamon. Okay, Eamon is an Irish name. I'm from Ireland. So then your response, probably you don't have a friend called Eamon. Right? So I've got, what is it? Let's see. Then you can say, I haven't. Okay? Because this is the verb, right? I haven't. Okay? Unless you do, and then you say, I have. All right? Or me too. Right, me too. So let's say I would like to go swimming. Oops. Swimming tomorrow. Okay, I would like to go swimming tomorrow. There's no space here, but what about you? I would like to go swimming tomorrow. And you can say, me too. Or if you disagree, remember this one? This is the auxiliary. So you disagree, you make it negative, right? Or you change it from positive to negative. So you say, I wouldn't. Okay. Let's say I had cereal for breakfast. So you can say, me too. Or, this is a tricky one now. The had. What tense is this? It's the past simple, right? So you say, response. You would respond and say, I didn't. Just say, I didn't. But probably you would say what you had, right? So you say, I had toast, or I had bread, something like that, okay? Let's look at this one. I've always wanted to, okay, so I've always wanted to, in my life, I've always wanted to travel. Okay, so is this your dream, something something that you want to do? So if you want to agree, you could say, me too, or a little bit more formally, so have I. Okay, and to disagree, you could say, I haven't. Right, so we're practicing these short answers here. Okay, let's look at number 10 now. I like eating. What do I like eating? I like eating lots of things. I like eating bread. Very simple person, but I love bread from many different countries. So to agree, right, you can say, me too. I think everybody likes bread, right? Me too. Or if you don't like eating bread, then you say, I don't. So if I say, I like eating bread, you say, me too, or I don't. Okay. I used to do something as a child. All right. Remember, we used to is when we do something in the past, right, that you don't do anymore, right? So let's do an example. I used to play football every day as a child, okay? Like most children, I think. I used to play football every day as a child, and you say, me too. Now, this would be a bit strange to say, I didn't used to play. I didn't used to, okay? It's a little bit strange. But, okay, maybe if I want to disagree, you could just say, I didn't, right? I didn't. Me too, or I didn't. Okay, I'm interested in learning how to code. Okay, technology and things. I love technology, so I'm interested in learning how to code. You can say, me too, or if you want to disagree, I'm not. Okay, so we need to make this negative, right? I'm, and we make it negative. Let's keep going. We have a few more to go. I want to something in the future. I want to have a house in the future. Okay. I want to have a house with a swimming pool in the future. That would be very nice. All right. So you could say, me too, or let's make this negative if you want to disagree. What is it? Disagree. I don't. Right, so every time you need to think a little bit about the tense, or right here we have the present tense, here we have the negative, right? Or if there's a modal verb or something like that, or some auxiliary verb, it's very important to think about that, right? So let's say I didn't run yesterday. Okay, so If you want to agree, let's think about it. This sentence is negative, right? So the negative sentence, say, me neither. Right? Or if you want to say that if you want to disagree, then you say, I did. Right? I did. Okay, and let's say, next one, I can sing quite well. I think. I'm okay at singing, so I can sing quite well. So if you want to agree, you say, me too, or so can I. Right, so can I. And if you want to disagree, if you are a very bad singer, then what can you say? I can't. Okay. Right, I like watching football. Right, to agree. This should be easy now. To agree, me too. Remember, it's a positive sentence. Or to disagree. This is just a way, remember, just to say short answers, right? I don't. Right? Okay, let's finish up here. So I like to sit on the beach when I'm on holiday. Okay, so to agree, me too. And to disagree, I don't. Okay, this will be the same, number 18. And this one, let's look at number 19. When I wake up, the first thing I do is wash my face. Okay. So you could agree, you could say me too. And to disagree, maybe this is a bit, can't really just repeat the verb like in these ones, right? It's just there's too much in this sentence. So in this case, you probably wouldn't use a short answer, I would say. And then this last one, I'm not keen on. To be keen on something is when you're interested in it, you like it, pretty much similar to like. So I'm not keen on peas. Don't really like them. So you can say, it's a negative sentence, remember? To agree, you say, me neither. Well done. Me neither. And to disagree, say, what can we say? I am. Okay, I hope that helps you to agree. And let's move on with some skills lessons now. Okay, let's practice some skills now. Okay, the 4 skills in English are listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Okay, so it's probably a little bit difficult to practice speaking in these lessons, but I will give you some expressions in other lessons. But let's start now with listening. So to practice our listening skills, we're going to listen to something now. So the title of this piece is called Tin Pan Alley. Okay, so usually the title helps you to think about what this topic is about. In this case, doesn't really help you, but tin pan is like a frying pan and made of aluminium. Tin is another word for aluminium, and an alley is like a small street. Okay, so Tin Pan Alley. Okay, so the first listen. Okay, don't worry too much. Just try to listen and discover, what is this about? Okay, what is this topic about? First time, there are different skills when you are listening, right? One is to listen for the gist. Okay, listen for gist. Okay, that just means the general understanding. Okay, so you don't need to really think all of the details, right? And the opposite, not the opposite, but another way of listening is to listen for detail, okay? And we'll do that the second listen, okay? So first time, just listen and we can think about what you understand, okay? So let's listen now.
Tin Pan Alley is the name given to the collection of New York City music publishers and songwriters who dominated the popular music of the United States in the late 19th century and early 20th century. The name originally referred to a specific place, West 28th Street between 5th and 6th Avenues in the Flower District of Manhattan. A plaque on the sidewalk on 28th Street between Broadway and 6th commemorates it. The start of Tin Pan Alley is usually dated to about 1885, when a number of music publishers set up shop in the same district of Manhattan. The end of Tin Pan Alley is less clear-cut. Some date it to the start of the Great Depression in the 1930s, when the phonograph, radio, and motion pictures supplanted sheet music as the driving force of American popular music, while others consider Tin Pan Alley to have continued into the 1950s, when earlier styles of American popular music were upstaged by the rise of rock and roll, which was centered on the Brill Building. The origins of the name Tin Pan Alley are unclear. One account claims that it was a derogatory reference to the sound of many pianos, comparing them to the banging of tin pans. Others claim it arose from songwriters modifying their pianos to produce a more percussive sound. After many years, the term came to refer to the U.S. music industry in general.
Okay, so I understand that he speaks quite quickly, but just try your best. What did you understand? Okay, so just an easy thing to start. What is this about, right? It's a kind of a strange name, right? Tin Pan Alley. What is it about? So I guess what it's really about is this period of time, um, around late 19th century, early 20th century, about the music industry in the United States of America. Okay, so this is a type of genre, right? About a type of music, right? A style of music. You know, sometimes some type of music becomes popular and many different artists make the same music. Okay, that could be a music genre. Okay, now let's listen again, and this time I want you to think about these questions. This is practicing listening for detail. Okay, so you need to tune your ear so that you are listening for these specific questions, okay? And if you think about your learning English journey, at the beginning, you need to just listen for gist, right? You understand 5%, 10%, or something like that. But you know, as you get improve, and this is really for intermediates or upper intermediates level, so you get to 70%, 80%, and at that point there are just some small words maybe that you don't understand. So in that case, you're listening for detail, right? You want to say, oh, what are those words? And you need to practice that. Okay, you need to practice that skill and really be aware of that. Okay, so let's practice a little bit here. Where is the plaque of commemoration? Okay, a plaque is like a little sign, you know, like a little sign to say, oh, this happened in this place, right? In Ireland, where I live, there are lots of statues, right? But sometimes outside somebody's house, there's like a little house and say, this famous writer lived here. And that is a plaque of commemoration, right? To remember somebody. Okay, and then question 2, when did the Tin Pan Alley start? Okay, when did it start? Right, and then where did the name come from? Okay, where did the name come from? It's a very strange name, Tin Pan Alley. Let's listen again.
Tin Pan Alley is the name given to the collection of New York City music publishers and songwriters who dominated the popular music of the United States in the late 19th century and early 20th century. The name originally referred to a specific place, West 28th Street between 5th and 6th Avenues in the Flower District of Manhattan. A plaque on the sidewalk on 28th Street between Broadway and 6th commemorates it. The start of Tin Pan Alley is usually dated to about 1885, when a number of music publishers set up shop in the same district of Manhattan. The end of Tin Pan Alley is less clear-cut. Some date it to the start of the Great Depression in the 1930s, when the phonograph, radio, and motion pictures supplanted sheet music as the driving force of American popular music, while others consider Tin Pan Alley to have continued into the 1950s, when earlier styles of American popular music were upstaged by the rise of rock and roll, which was centered on the Brill Building. The origins of the name Tin Pan Alley are unclear. One account claims that it was a derogatory reference to the sound of many pianos, comparing them to the banging of tin pans. Others claim it arose from songwriters modifying their pianos to produce a more percussive sound. After many years, the term came to refer to the U.S. music industry in general.
Okay, so let's look at the questions now. Where is the plaque of commemoration? Let's look at the reading here of this. I found this on Wikipedia. So, the name originally referred to a specific place, West 28th Street between 5th and 6th Avenues in the Flower District of Manhattan. Okay, so, and then the plaque, see below, on the sidewalk on the 28th Street between Broadway and 6th commemorates it. Okay, so that's where the plaque is. So in the United States, they have a kind of a grid system, right? So they have like 1st Street, 2nd Street, 3rd Street. So this is 28th Street between Broadway and 6th. Okay, so and that's where the plaque is. Let's look at the next one here. When did the Tin Pan Alley, let's call it a movement, I suppose. When did Tin Pan Alley start? Okay, the start of Tin Pan Alley is usually dated to about 1885. Okay, when a number of music publishers set up shop in the same district of Manhattan. This expression here, set up shop, it kind of means like to start something, right? To start a business or something like that. In this case, they didn't set up a shop, but we often use this in many different contexts, right? To set up shop, to start something, okay? And the last question here, where did the name come from? Okay, so this question actually was a little bit more difficult because the name Tin Pan Alley, it's unclear where it came from, okay? Nobody knows where it came from, right? So let's look at the two different options that potentially it could be from. One account claims that it was a derogatory reference to the sound of many pianos, comparing them to the banging of tin pans. Okay, so what does that mean? So a derogatory reference, it means it's kind of like an insult, right? It's like an insult to the people playing the music. So it's the sound of the many different pianos and comparing them to the banging of tin pans, the pan that you use to cook, right? So if they're comparing it to banging of the tin pans, all right? And others claim it arose from songwriters modifying their pianos to produce a more percussive sound, right? Percussive is more like a drum sound, okay? So that's the answer there, and that's the listening lesson now.